So hey folks, in this video we're going to look at how to create an autonomous VM cluster, uh, multiple autonomous VM clusters on an Exadata VM cluster in ExaCC. So let's go to the ExaCC landing page. Let's go to the hamburger menu, select Oracle database, and then select Exadata Cloud at Customer. So once you're here, let's go to the Exadata infrastructure and select my Exadata infrastructure on which I'll be creating the autonomous VM cluster. So here it is. So this is a full rack. All right, let me show you the resources available. It still has a lot of resources available on this, as can be clearly seen. So let's see like what's happening. The VM clusters, cluster networks are already configured for this. I also have one normal co-managed VM cluster on this, or rather Exadata VM cluster on this. And I also have one autonomous VM cluster on this. So now let's create one more along with the one that already exists. The one that exists has a lot of OCPUs, as you can see. There are also certain fields like reclaimable OCPUs and ACDs that you're seeing here, which will not be visible uh, until a certain feature will be launched in the near future. In the meanwhile, you will be able to see all the other information though, apart from the reclaimable OCPUs and ACDs. So let's go to the create autonomous Exadata VM cluster. Select the compartment where you want to create it. Have a name, autonomous VMC. All right, the Exadata infrastructure is already selected. Let's select the network 2. And here comes the biggest change in terms of creating the autonomous Exadata VM cluster. So you have to allocate resources that are necessary for you to create autonomous databases inside this cluster. So as you can see, we want you to provide the number of container databases you plan to create inside this VM cluster. Once the VM cluster is created, this value cannot be changed today. So in fact, the Exadata VM cluster cannot be scaled as part of a V1 limitation. So that will be relaxed on a future date. But please do consider when you allocate resources that you won't be able to scale this in the near term. So so all these fields are interrelated to each other. So let me show you an example. So these are the minimum values that you have to allocate for an autonomous stream cluster. And on the right side, you'll see the aggregate values. So the aggregate resource values that we will carve out from your Exadata infrastructure. And we also show you the formula that is used to calculate these values, right? So let's go. Let me change the value of the OCPUs from 5 to say 20. And this automatically changes the number of container databases that you can create within this VM cluster. So as I said, these values are all interrelated. Experiment with these values and see for yourself, understand the relationship clearly. All right, I'll just do 10. I'll do say 3 ACDs, and I'll say I want 30 GB per OCPU. And I also want say like 3 TB of storage or rather 5 TB of storage for this. Yeah, I'm not going to allocate storage for backup. And all right, next up is the maintenance section. So let's click on edit preferences. So no preference would mean that Oracle will decide the maintenance schedule, time, and everything for you. And once the maintenance schedule, you will be able to see that, or you'll be able to see that on the main screen. I'll get back to that later. If you have a very specific schedule, select on that. Select the month in each quarter where you want the maintenance to happen. You can also select the week, start hour, and lastly, this is the lead time. Basically, we'll send out a notification to you guys based on your schedule. So for example, if you select, say, 3 weeks in advance, we'll start sending out notifications to you 3 weeks before the start date of your maintenance, right? All right. Lastly, you select the license type for this. If you already are bringing your license, if you have a license that you want to bring to cloud, select BYOL. Or if you want new licenses, cloud license, just select license included. The advanced option allows you to select the time zone, select the one that you want, and lastly, you can also create tags for this resource. All right, so yeah, let's create now. Now that we have selected all the information, let's create this autonomous VM cluster. It should be ready in some time. You can see this is getting provisioned, and it also shows you all the resources that you have allocated to this VM cluster. So as I said earlier, there are certain fields here that may not be visible to you now as part of the autonomous VM cluster, uh, or rather multi-VM, pilot to production program. So these will be available very close to GA date. So let's take a look at the work request. So yeah, as you can see, the work request is still in progress. It says 0% progress. So it will probably take some time before it completes the creation. All right, so the VM cluster is now created. So as you can see, this section shows you all the resource related information. All right, so I can create container databases inside this resource now. And also you have the option to update the license type on this VM cluster if you want on it and change. And yeah, these are all the standard OCI options that are available for each resource, right? So you click on the create container database here and then continue with creating your container databases. All right, I will not go deep into creating a container database as part of this video. Let's go back to the Exadata infrastructure and look at this resource in the list view here. So yeah, earlier I had only one resource here. Now I can see both, and it clearly shows you what's the OCPUs available and total as part of this. It also shows you the storage that's available and total, and reclaimable and ACDs will be launched as part of a different project in the near future. You can see memory per OCPU that you allocated to this resource. So that's it for this video, folks. You could also cross tally the values you allocated and the values that were removed from the Exadata infrastructure resource section. And that will give you a clear idea and understanding of how this is all working. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Thanks a lot for watching, folks.